1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. The government expects to further relax the import restrictions on several goods from next week. The government plans to relax import ban on nearly 400 items. Landslide warning issued to 5 districts. Chinese Vice Minister says they are happy that Sri Lanka has come back from crisis. In foreign news, Elon Musk reclaims title of world's richest person. Governor of the Central Bank Nandalal Veerasinghe says that joining into the pyramid-type investment program is a punishable offence. He said that it is prohibited to join, manage or promote such schemes. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has requested the Attorney General to consider instituting criminal proceedings against 3 pyramid-type prohibited schemes operating in the country. Accordingly, the CBSL has carried out investigations to ascertain whether the entities Fast 3 Cycle International Private Limited, F3C, Sport Chain App, Sports Chain ZS Society Sri Lanka and the Onmax DT have violated the provisions of the CBSL, has determined that the 3 relevant entities and directors, founders and promoters of these entities have conducted prohibited schemes in contravention of the provisions of the said Act. The CBSL has further notified the general public regarding the matter in a special notice published in local newspapers. The government expects to further relax the import restrictions on several goods from next week. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya stated that the import restrictions on 300 to 400 items will be relaxed from next week. The government imposed a ban on several items as part of its prolonged stringent import restrictions from March 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. The ban on imports continued due to the economic crisis until as recently as November last year, after which the government took measures to relax import restrictions on several goods in batches. It was also reported that Sri Lanka has expressed its intention to present a plan by June to lift the import restrictions currently imposed in the country. The government has promised the European Union that it will gradually relax the restrictions, taking into account the current economic conditions. The National Building Research Organisation today issued landslide early warnings to 5 districts: Galle, Kaluthara, Kagalla, Mathura and Ratnapura, effective until 1 a.m. tomorrow. Accordingly, people living in the following areas where a level 2 warning is effective are advised to be ready to evacuate to a safe location if the need arises. People living in threatened areas are urged to be on alert about the possibility of landslides, slope failures, rock falls, cutting failures and ground subsidence. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. We continue with local news. China's Vice Foreign Minister Sun Weidong believes that Sri Lanka will overcome the prevailing economic crisis very soon and approach the path of development, and that China will provide all support required for this purpose. He further stated that Buddhism was mainly responsible for building strong relations between the 2 countries and that China intends to further develop that friendship in the future. The Deputy Foreign Minister made these comments yesterday when he visited the Malvatta Temple and received the blessings of the Chief Prelate of the Malvatta Chapter, the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Siddhartha Sumangala Thera, and obtained his blessings. The annual Poson Aloka Pujava will be held in Sithulpawa this year as well. It will commence today and will be held until Sunday. A series of pinkamas will also be held in connection with the annual Poson Aloka Pujava. This will be held under the guidance of the Chief Priest, Mataraba Hemaratana Thera. That ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
A special transport plan for the Poson Festival will be implemented under the supervision of the Transport, Highways and Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. Accordingly, Minister Gunawardena has advised the officials of the Sri Lanka Transport Board to prepare a special transport plan for the pilgrims visiting Mihinthalaya, Anuradhapura and Tantirimale on Poson Poya Day, which is of special national, religious and cultural significance in Sri Lanka. It has been decided to provide transportation facilities to the devotees by deploying 502 SLT buses during the discussion held yesterday under the chairmanship of SLTB Chairman Lalit D. Alves.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
We now take a look at Watchlight. The Sri Lankan government has made mandatory to test imported dried fish, sprats and fruits for heavy metals such as lead and arsenic with immediate effect. The decision was taken after a survey conducted by the Food Control Administration Unit of the Health Ministry between 2021 and 2022 discovered that certain consignments of imported dried fish, sprats and fruits contain heavy metals, especially lead and arsenic in large quantities. According to the survey, some imported fruit stocks contain alarming levels of lead, an extremely toxic heavy metal. The Food Control Administration Unit has advised the importers to ensure that the amount of heavy metals and arsenic present in dried fish, sprats and fruits brought in from overseas does not exceed the permitted minimum level. Meanwhile, a special contact number 011 211 2718. I will read that again. A special contact number 011 211 2718 has been introduced by the Food Control Administration Unit for further inquiries in this regard. And we now take a look at world news. First, the headlines. Congress approves debt deal averting a U.S. default. Pope accepts resignation of Indian Bishop Franco Mukhalal accused of rape. Poland's quest to retrieve priceless Nazi-looted art. The U.S. Congress has approved a deal to lift the country's borrowing limit days before the world's largest economy is due to default on its debt. The bipartisan measure sped through the Senate by a vote of 63 to 36 a day after it cleared the U.S. House of Representatives. President Joe Biden has said he will enact the measure into law. His signature on the bill will spare the U.S. from a catastrophic default on its $31.4 trillion debt. The country is forecast to overshoot its current debt ceiling on June the 5th. A default would limit the government's ability to borrow more money or pay all of its bills. It would also threaten to wreak havoc overseas, affecting prices and mortgages rates in other countries. In Thursday's night's session, the bill passed with support from 44 Democrats and 17 Republicans, plus 2 independents. 60 votes were required to approve the measures in a 100-seat chamber that Democrats only narrowly control. The Vatican has announced that it has accepted the resignation of an Indian bishop accused of raping a nun between 2014 and 2016. Franco Mulakkal, 54, was the bishop of Jalandhar in the state of Punjab. Mulakkal, who had denied the allegations, was found not guilty last year by a trial court in Kerala state. The Vatican's diplomatic representatives in India said that an appeal against Mulakkal's acquittal had been admitted in the High Court in Kerala. On Thursday, Mulakkal confirmed his resignation and thanked his supporters for standing by him in difficult times. Given the still decisive situation, Mulakkal's resignation was for the good of the Jalalkand diocese and to make way for a new bishop, the Vatican's diplomatic representative said in a statement, the Times of India reported. When the Nazis occupied Poland in World War II, many of the country's priceless pieces of art were stolen. One of those was the Madonna with Child, a 16th century painting attributed to Italian Alessandro Turci. A Nazi official who oversaw the looting of art, including the painting on a list of hundreds taken from occupied Poland. But the painting is finally returned home after being discovered in Japan and handed over to Polish authorities during a ceremony in Tokyo this week. It is one of 600 looted artworks that Poland has managed to successfully bring home, but more than 66,000 so-called war losses are yet to be recovered. Poland recently launched a campaign seeking the return of hundreds of thousands of artworks and other cultural items still missing after German and Soviet occupation in World War II. It is also seeking $1.3 trillion in reparations from Germany for damage incurred by occupying Nazis. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Congress approves debt deal averting a US default. Pope accepts resignation of Indian Bishop Franco Mulakal accused of rape. Poland's quest to retrieve priceless Nazi looted art. That ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
Sri Lanka's foreign reserves continue to increase and pass the $3 billion mark in May after being almost zero 9 months ago. The usable reserves had also moved up to $1.6 billion. Gross official reserves continue to increase, recording a $2.8 billion at end April 2023. This included a swap facility from the People's Bank of China, equivalent to around $1.4 billion, and many other receipts from donor agencies. And now we take a look at sports news. The first ODI between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan is now being played at the Hambantota International Cricket Stadium. Afghanistan won the toss and chose to field. Batting first, Sri Lanka scored 179 runs for the loss of 4 wickets at the end of 36 overs just a short while ago. The Saudi Pro League can become a top 5 league in the world if they can attract more big names, says Portugal forward Cristiano Ronaldo. Lionel Messi, Karim Benzema and Luka Modric have been linked with moves to Saudi Arabia, and Ronaldo, 38, says they are very welcome to join him. The 5-time Ballon d'Or winner has completed his first season with Al Nassr after joining in December. He has a contract to 2025 and added he will continue there next season. Paris Saint-Germain have confirmed Messi will leave the club this summer, and the Argentina forward 35 has a role as a tourism ambassador for Saudi Arabia. That was sport.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Hotel Show Colombo, the country's premier trade fair, is scheduled to be held from the 21st to the 23rd of July after a 3-year hiatus. The 15th edition of Hotel Show Colombo is themed Produce of Sri Lanka and organized by the Sri Lanka Hospitality Graduates Association together with CDS events, and the support of the Sri Lanka tourism and private sector will be held at the BMICH. Sri Lanka Hospitality Graduates Association President Asela Vavita said the Hotel Show Colombo 2023 is a good kickstart for the tourism industry that is looking forward to catering for a better winter season. He also said the industry champions are showing enthusiasm and confidence in the sector, adding that many firms have invested in refurbishment, rebranding and building new hotels as well.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship ekata menna.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. Elon Musk has reclaimed his title as the world's richest person, knocking the boss of luxury goods giant LMVH, Bernard Arnault, off the top spot. His net worth has soared to $55.3 billion since January to 192. Arnold's fortune has fallen by $24.5 billion to $187 billion per Bloomberg's Billionaires Index. He is followed by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates in third and fourth positions. Mr. Arnold, 74, has overtaken Mr. Musk, 51, on the rich list in December when shares in LMVH jumped as demand for luxury goods rebounded.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragama and southern provinces. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, are likely at some places in the Ratnapura, Gaul, Mathura and Kalutara districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province. Showers or thundershowers will occur in the central, Uva and eastern provinces during the evening or at night. Strong winds, about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times over the island. To end this afternoon's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The government expects to further relax the import restrictions on several goods from next week. The government plans to relax import ban on nearly 400 items. Landslide warnings issued to 5 districts. Chinese Vice Minister says they are happy that Sri Lanka has come back from crisis, and foreign news Elon Musk reclaims the title of world's richest person. That ends this afternoon's news broadcast.